Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're talking about number 230, Haine, which means hate in French. It's a crime drama film from 1995. It's an 8.1 on 126,147 votes. It's quite a few votes.
That is actually, especially for like a foreign film.
Yeah. The foreign ones normally don't have that many.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, so the spoiler-free synopsis. When a young Arab is arrested and beaten unconscious by police, a riot erupts in the notoriously violent suburbs outside of Paris. 3 of the victims' peers, Vinz, Said, and Hubert, wander aimlessly about their home turf in the aftermath of the violence as they try to come to grips with their outrage over the brutal incident. After one of the men finds a police officer's discarded weapon, their night seems poised to take a bleak turn.
Yeah, that's a good synopsis of it.
Yeah, it doesn't give anything away.
No.
Except for maybe the gun.
Yeah, that's about it. But it doesn't say who has it.
No, that's true.
It's like, you'll find out if you watch it.
Yeah, that is true.
Alright, I apologize in advance with the names. Plus, I'm sick, so apologies. Alright, so the director is Matthew Kassovitz, and he's also directed Gothica, Babylon AD, and Rebellion. And the actors are, the 3 main ones are Vincent Cassel, Hubert Koundé, and Said Taghmaoui.
Hey, that's his name in the actual movie. It's like,
Yeah, they just pretty much just use their names.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they did it on purpose, was using their names, because they're all the same name.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think their last names are the same, because it doesn't ever say their last names, but
True.
I think that they did that on purpose to make it seem more, I don't know, realistic.
Agreed.
So, Rotten Tomatoes. This is one of the few films that we have that has 100% positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. The average rating of it is an 8, but it has 100% positive reviews.
Wow.
Only 19 of them, but still, all of them were positive.
That's good.
Yeah. So Mike Clark said writer-director Matthew Kassovitz minds so much tension and pointed dialogue from a low-budget and deceptively simple premise that you would wonder why so much of current Hollywood's own social realism ends up shooting $50 million blanks.
I like that one.
That's funny. And then Roger Ebert. Hate is, I suppose, a Generation X film, whatever that means, but more mature and insightful than the American Gen X films.
Okay.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I mean, I know what Generation X is.
Yeah. But
I don't know what he's trying to get at there.
I don't know either.
There was not a critics' consensus on this.
Oh. That's new.
Yeah. And so I think that is wrong. So the funny shaped E with the 2 lines through it, that's euros, right? Or what is that?
I think so.
Okay, well that's what this is in.
Okay.
For the budget, it was $2,590,000. And the only money that I could find that it made was in the U.S. It made $280,859.
It's probably a really limited release.
Yeah. It didn't specify.
Yeah. That's what I'm guessing.
My guess is it was really limited. And then the only other thing that I found about it for the income was its all-time domestic rank. It's 9,041. Awards. It won 8 awards and had 13 other nominations. The Cannes Film Festival won Best Director. Caesar Awards won Best Film, Producer, and Editing. European Film Awards, Young European Film of the Year. Film Critics Circle of Australia, Best Foreign Language Film. Lumiere Awards, Best Film, Best Director, and that is it.
Yeah.
Not really a lot about that movie. There are
That's
awards
true.
for it. But it did get a Cannes Award, so that's good.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get into Cannes.
Alright, so what are your initial thoughts?
Well, I was like, okay. I didn't know what to expect from this. I didn't really know much about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay open-minded. And I just kept thinking about this movie as it kept going on. And I was like, this can really relate to, like, now.
Yeah.
This came out, it's in 95, so...
Yeah, so it's...
23 years
yeah.
old.
Yeah.
And I just think about how it would be shown now, and it would really hit home now. And with everything going on. And I've been thinking about, like, how the different sides went about in this movie, and I just keep thinking about it over and over again. So, I liked it. I did.
That's good. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Actually liked it. It was kind of weird, and it was really hard to follow because French, they talk really fast.
It's true.
Especially Saeed. He talks really, really fast.
He's got some good lines, though.
Yeah, he does. He does have some good ones. But, and then Hubert, he talks kind of slow. And then, Vinz, he was, like, in the middle. So you have, like, 3 different speeds, but it's still, sometimes all of them are talking too fast for me to catch everything that they said.
True.
But, I rented it on Amazon. It was, like, $2. So I guess it was worth the $2. But yeah, I liked it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back once you've watched it. So, the very beginning of the movie, it says Haine, and then it has the translation of hate.
It says hate. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, alright, this is how we're starting this, okay.
It's definitely a big idea in the movie, is hate.
I think it sets the mood for it, too. You're like, okay, hate. What's the hate going to be about?
Yeah.
So there's a person, like, after you see the title cards and everything, there's a person yelling at, like a barricade of, like, was it, like, a police barricade or something?
Yeah, something like that.
He's just, like, yelling about, like, how the police and everything, there's police brutality in a way. And then it goes to, like, this video footage of, like, these riots happening. And
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of the video footage of the Rodney King riots.
they do mention that, actually, in the movie.
That must have been when I was writing something down, so I missed it.
They did mention it one time, and I caught it. I was like,
Okay.
ha.
I was
that.
probably writing something down, so I missed it.
You're good. You're good.
Because it's hard with these foreign ones. Like, I'm trying to take notes, but I'm trying to pay attention. You can't. It's hard to do all of it at the same time. Like, I'm a really good multitasker, but watching a movie with subtitles is already multitasking enough.
Yes.
And then you add in taking the notes on it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm trying to focus this. I'm writing notes, too.
Yeah. Oh, and then one thing that they also put right at the very beginning before you see the riots was to those who died while this film was being made.
Yes.
It's like a dedication.
Dedication. I was like, that, huh.
So it makes me kind of wonder what they went through in making this movie, or like if they're just dedicating it to anybody and everybody that died. So you probably know. It's probably in your trivia.
It is in my trivia, actually. That's why
we'll
I'm just going to wait for that.
We'll get to it later. Then. Like, I didn't look up anything about this film. I just kind of watched it.
It's like, yeah, I had to do some trivia research, so I do know about it.
All right, then. So you find out that a teen was beaten in police custody, and that's why the riots were happening. because he was apprehended for theft. And then while he was in custody of the police, he was beaten.
It was so bad that he had to go to the hospital.
Yep, he's in the hospital.
That bad.
And you find out kind of about what's going on with him a little bit later when our three main characters go to visit him in the hospital. So then you see one of the main characters, like all these police are kind of standing around, and you see him, he's like kind of over behind this police van, and he's like drawing on the police van.
Yeah, he's riding on is it a van or a truck? Something
like that.
Something involving with the cops, and you're just riding on it.
You know those money trucks that drive around?
That's what I was
pick
thinking.
up the money? It looked like that. It was a police one.
It reminded me of that too. It really did.
And then you see him, he's in like this big square with apartments around it, and he's like arguing with this lady in an apartment, and then he starts arguing with another guy because the guy told him to shut up because he was screaming.
Conversations, I guess, in the projects.
Yeah. And he's looking for Vinz, and she's like, I'm not gonna wake him up, he's sleeping. He got mad at me last time.
And then I think you figure out that that's his sister, Vin's sister.
Yeah, and so Saeed, which is the guy that was drawing on the truck, he goes inside, which I don't know why he didn't go inside in the first place, instead of just yelling and waking everybody up, but okay. So he goes inside and wakes up Vinz, and they're just kind of making rude remarks that guys make to each other.
Always. It's just
like this whole entire movie.
It's just smack talk like the entire time between like three guys. I'm like,
yeah. Like I hear that all the time.
I know you do.
I really do. And so they're sitting there eating, and Vinz asks his sister why she's not at school, and she's like, they burned down the school last night in the riots. I'm like, okay.
Well, it's kind of a rough neighborhood, isn't it?
Like, that's like something that would happen in, like, New York or something. Like some kind of California.
Yeah.
Like burning down a school because you're mad about something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've never seen it happen, but there's a possibility that it's happened somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
And then you see them, they're in like a burned building, and this guy's punching a punching bag.
Yeah, it's like this gym. It kind of got like burned up and like looted and all of that.
And so he's like wondering how they got the car in there, because there's a car in the gym, and he's like, the doors aren't big enough, how'd they get the car in there?
How'd they get the car in? I'm like, oh god, it's not, just rammed it in.
Like, it was burned, and they probably just ran through one of the walls.
Probably.
And then finished burning it.
So yeah, they met. Guy's punching a bag because he's a boxer.
Yeah, and you find out later when you see him at his house that he liked what's his name? The really good boxer, Muhammad Ali, is that his name? Yeah. He's like, that was his inspiration, I guess.
I can see that, yeah.
And the guy, they're saying that this is Hubert, the guy, the boxer. That was his gym, and he had worked hard to get it. And it got burned down in the riots the night before. And he's just kind of in there. You can tell he's mad because he's beating the crap out of this punching bag.
I mean, it's better than trying to beat somebody up, so punching a bag, I guess, is good. You know.
Yeah, he seems
stress
like,
relief. He's the most level-headed one.
Yeah, he's, like, they're in the projects, but he seems to be one who, his goal is to get out of the projects.
Very true.
And so he doesn't want to do anything that's going to mess it up.
Yeah, he does say that later in the film. He's like, I just want out.
Yeah, he does say that.
He does. And Vin's talking about the rides, because he was involved in that, of course.
Sometimes I feel like when he was talking about the riots, he's over-exaggerating what
That's
he was
what
saying.
I felt, too. I'm like, are you really saying what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, are you lying? Or...
I felt like a lot of it, they were lying.
I think so.
Him and Saeed seem to exaggerate quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
So then they're like on the roof.
Yeah, like some like weird roof, like hangout,
gang hangout or something.
Yeah,
because that's what it seemed like. It seemed like this was one of the gangs of the projects in Paris, and then there's another one called the Skinheads. Like that's another gang in the projects. You don't really meet them right now. You meet them later. But then, so they're all just kind of like hanging out on the roof. It reminds me of Good Burger when they're hanging out on the roof. And he's just like, I just like to come up here and think, you know? And he's like, well, what do you think about? Because it just seems like he's an airhead and doesn't really think about anything, but...
So everything's connected.
Yeah. Did a good job at that.
Yeah, and like, Vince was talking about how he either has to do like jail time or community service, and he's leaning towards a jail time because he's never been in there before.
And he seems to think that that's going to get him respect in his little gang.
Yeah, and Hubert's like, no, don't do it.
Hubert's like, you're a dumbass.
You're dumb.
You're dumb. So then they see the mayor like walking around down on the ground.
In the bottom part, yeah.
And they start yelling at him. Like, okay, I understand that you may not like your mayor, but it's probably not the best idea to yell at him when there's a bunch of cops near him.
Oh, yeah. Of course the cops come up to the roof, too.
Yeah, and like making him leave the roof. And Saeed's brother tells him, like, you need to go. Get out of here. He's like, but I don't want to leave. He's like, go. Because he seems to be kind of like the head honcho of the gang, his brother. So then they're in a park.
Like this weird, like, little playground thing.
Yeah, some kind of park playground thing. Hubert, Vinz, and Saeed are there. And a news van comes up and, like, trying to get them to talk about the riots the night before. And the three of them start yelling at the news people and then, like, throwing rocks and stuff. And then they drive off.
And they're trying to film it as they're yelling at them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's not a good.
Yeah. And then they're kind of like in a different park. And there's this kid with them now. And he's talking super fast. Like, he talks really fast. And he's talking about candid camera. Like, what? What a random topic to be talking about when your friend has just been beaten. Like, them three are very clearly upset, and he's just sitting there going on and on about the candid camera show.
I mean, I think he was younger.
Yeah, he did seem a lot younger.
He did seem them. Like I'm thinking like preteen almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say 12 or 13 is what I was getting from him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And like just a little bit before that, they went to their friend Walmart's house, and he was telling them how a cop had lost his gun. Oh yeah. A little right before that.
Yeah.
Because that plays into this.
Yeah, because right after. So there's some car pulls up. The little kid runs away. Saeed goes up to the car, and he comes back and says that the people in the car have a shotgun. And that's really the only information that you get from that.
Yeah, that was kind of random.
Like, that whole scene, that's the only information that you get from that is about the shotgun.
I did notice when, like, they were talking with that little kid that Hubert was, like, he was stepping on some abandoned needles.
Yeah, he was playing with the needles.
I was like, oh, God. That's not a good sign.
No.
So that's a bad part of town. You see just needles laying on the ground like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. So then, they're gonna go visit Abdel in the hospital, but first Vinz wants to show him something.
Yep.
And this is where we find out that he's the one that has the cop's gun.
Yep, he was showing it off and everything.
And Hubert is mad at him because Vinz is saying that he's gonna kill the cop that beat Abdel.
Yeah, even the score, as he says.
Yeah. And Hubert's like, you don't want to do that. we would end up with a dead friend, and what would the cops end up with? A whole bunch more cops coming after us.
Exactly. He's trying to reason with him in a more logical way, and he's running all on emotions.
Yeah, he seems very level-headed even in this time of trial for them and their friends.
He feels like a strong character.
Yeah.
He does.
And then, so they go to the hospital. Vince takes his gun with him. He had put it away, but then he went back and got it. And so they go to the hospital. And this is where you find out that Abdel, who was the kid that got beat while he was in custody, he's in a coma.
Yes.
So he was beat really badly.
Yeah, and there's a cop, like, right outside his door, the hospital door, so no one can get in. They're just like, oh, we're just trying to protect the family and all of that. So.
Yeah. So then, like, they kind of make a little bit of a scene, and they took Saeed
Yeah.
to the precinct because they thought that he was, like, the ringleader.
Which made me laugh.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of funny. Because it seems like they're just kind of all balanced in their power. Like, none of them are really the ringleader because they all end up doing something that they want to do. Like, none of them really specifically sticks out a lot. Because, like, when one starts to pull ahead with, like, what would be the ringleader bit, the other one is like, no, this is not how this works.
It's a little balance there. I like
it. So they're at the police station, and you see how vandalized it is from the riots the day before. And they're getting Saeed.
Yeah, to get him out.
Somebody from, I guess, the gang or something came and picked him up.
Well, as a cop.
Yeah, it was a cop, but he seemed to, like, have ties to
I think,
the gang.
yeah. Well, I think he's probably from, like, that same neighborhood. He knows them really well, and he's a cop, so he knows how to deal with the people who live in the projects and everything. So that's what I got from it.
That makes sense.
And I remember at this part, Hubert gets mad. He's like, I've been trying to reason with Vince, like, this entire time. He's not going to listen. He's just being a hothead. I'm leaving.
Yeah. And also, that the cop guy, he says that he can get a grant for
Hubert
to get
the gym fixed and everything.
Yeah, get him a new gym. And I thought that was really special. Like, that was really good because that's all he really wants. Like, he just wants to be a boxer.
Then open the gym up for others, just train. Nice little business thing there.
So then, that's where you find out that Hubert wants out. He's at home talking to his mom.
His mom and his sister, and you find out his brother is in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom's trying to get textbooks for his brother in jail so he can finish his degree. In his high school diploma.
GED,
yeah.
Or whatever the equivalent is over there. I don't know what it is. And then, while he's at home, you see Vinz and Saeed, Vinz is buying,
was it
like, peppers or something?
That's what I think, for, like, his grandma or something.
And then, while he's doing that, Saeed's just
he's
stealing.
Yeah, he's just shoplifting. Like, oh, Lord. Yeah, I did notice that. With Hubert, it is, like, it feels like he's the provider of the family.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see a father presence at all.
No.
His mother is pregnant.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Because he asked about how's the little brother, and I think that the one that she's pregnant with is a boy. Because then that's how they get on the subject of his older brother. Because you don't see another little boy there.
No.
So my guess is that she's pregnant with a boy, and he's asking how she's doing with the pregnancy with him.
Yeah.
And he provides money for the gas bill, and he like puts it on top of the fridge and then walks away so she can't tell him no.
Yeah.
And she just kind of picks it up and looks at it and then looks kind of off in the direction that he walked. Then there's, like, a DJ?
Yeah, a DJ playing in the projects. I love this part. It's got a good beat to it.
Yeah. And then there's a cow?
Yeah, because Vince, like, he said during the riots he kept seeing, like, a cow. And they're like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But there's a cow, like, just wandering around.
Yeah, there's a cow, and you hear it mooing and stuff. And then Vinz is gonna give Saeed a haircut.
Yeah.
And he messes it up. And Saeed gets mad.
I think it looked good.
Yeah, except for that there's one little patch that, like, other than that, it looked good.
True.
Then he pretty much wears a hat almost the rest of the movie.
I know.
A beanie. Because his hair's messed up. And then they're in, like, it looks like the entrance to a subway.
Yeah, it's like this
Something
weird
like that.
place.
And they're down there, just kind of hanging out, and there's some break dancers. And then this little kid runs in. He's like, something's happening.
Yeah, and there's these people in this car. They're shooting at this cop.
Yeah.
And then, like, they all run over there, and then the riot cops come and just, like...
It's like a big mob.
Yeah.
And then the three of them are on a train. They have run away. They're getting...
Yeah, and Hubert punched a cop.
Yeah. Well, because Vince was going to shoot him,
He's
and
gonna
Hubert's
shoot
like,
him.
no. So he punches him and just lays him out.
It's like, as a big, strong boxer, yeah, just one punch,
Yeah.
you're out.
And then then they got away, and they're on the train. And then Hubert sees a sign that says, the day is yours. Or something.
The world is yours.
The world. Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember. I didn't write it down because we
I
saw
did.
it a couple times. Just didn't remember quite what it said. Then they're in the bathroom, and Saeed's on the phone in the bathroom while Hubert and Vinz are peeing, and he's like talking to them.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then they get done, and they're like washing their hands, and they're fighting over the gun situation again, because it seems to be their beef is the gun situation. And then this guy comes out, and he's like, nothing like a good shit, and then starts telling the story about this guy, like they were living on a train.
Well, they were forced to go to a work camp.
Yeah,
That's why.
And they were living on the train and going to the work camp, and the one guy got off the train to go take a
Well, they all went to go take a shit, but this one guy, he was shy, so he went in behind a bush to take a shit.
And he missed the train. And
He
train
missed the
started
train.
leaving, and he said that he stuck his hand out to get the guy, but anytime he stuck his hand out, the guy would drop his pants, so he'd have to pick his pants back up. And then the boys, they're like, well, what happened? He's like, oh, he froze.
He froze to death. It's like, and he just, like, walks out. Like, they're like, what was that about?
Yeah, and they spend the next little bit, like, pretty much the rest of the movie, not the entire time, but, like, throughout some of it, they're like, why did he tell us that? Like, what did that have to do with anything? And then after they've left the bathroom, another guy walks out of a stall, and you're just like, they were just going on and on about killing a cop with two people in the bathroom that they didn't even know.
I mean, probably not the smartest move there, but...
No, definitely not. Then they go find Asterix.
Or Snoopy, as they call it.
Snoopy, yeah. Because they're trying to get Saeed's money. And this guy is crazy.
He is.
He's got, like, a curtain or something wrapped around him. I don't know what it was.
I couldn't figure out what it was.
It's like
either.
a blanket or a curtain or it was like really weird looking. It was like wrapped around him like a jungle man has his little junk and butt covered, and he has nunchucks in it and a gun, and he's like waving the gun around. He's like, "Did anybody follow you?" And I'm like, "What in the world is wrong with this man?"
I think he's probably high too.
Oh yeah, 'cause he was offering them coke.
Yeah, he's like, "Want a coke?" They're like, "Oh no."
He's like, "Coke, coke, 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 coke." And
yeah,
then
it's crazy.
Vinz is looking at his gun and like wants to hold it and like look at it. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm packing too, because Aster's like, don't touch my gun. And so then he tries to get him to play Russian roulette, but he called it something different.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
Didn't quite catch what he called it, but it was Russian roulette.
It was pretty much Russian roulette.
But the thing is, he somehow managed to get the bullets out. Like, the one that he was supposed to be shooting.
Yeah, they were, like,
He took it out without Vinz noticing. And then he's, like, trying to get Vinz to do it, and he's, like, freaking out. So then they start pointing their guns at each other.
Yeah. I was like, oh, goodness.
And, Saeed doesn't get his money.
No.
And Hubert and Saeed are mad at Vinz for pulling the crap with the gun. So they kind of leave him. And then I was writing something down, so I missed...
You missed an entire chunk there.
What did I miss?
Well, right outside their apartment, there's cops right there.
Yeah, that's because I was writing down a quote.
That's what it was.
I was writing down a quote, and that's why I was like, that. As they're leaving, I missed something, because the next bit I saw was
I gotcha.
They're held captive.
Yeah, so they were outside, and these cops, like, get them cuffed, and they're like... Vin's like, I'm not part of this, and just, like, walks off. They're like, well, thanks for leaving us, dude.
Okay. So I knew that they got separated because the next thing I saw is Saeed and Hubert are held captive and, like, getting tortured.
Yeah, right before that, Vinz actually snuck off to, like, a movie theater.
Yeah,
was watching
in a
movies.
movie theater.
And then...
And there's a kid, like, in there mimicking him and stuff.
Yes, then it does go to Hubert and Saeed. They're getting interrogated. And
yeah, they're getting... they want to know about the gang, I guess.
It's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
They're, like, kind of strangling them at some point.
And they were using racist terms against them.
Oh, so many.
Because Saeed is an Arab.
Yes.
And then Hubert is black. So they were being very racist towards them. And, yeah, I was writing down one of the quotes that I really liked. That's why I missed them getting captured. Because it was a pretty big quote.
I get you.
Especially for it having been in French. I had to, like, read it and then write it down, having just read it. So that's why I missed it.
You good? I got you.
Yeah.
And, like, they're getting, like, verbally abused, and there's, like, this cop just sitting there, and he's watching everything. There's this other cop telling him, he's like, you gotta stay in control of the situation. You can't go too far.
Yeah. But, I mean, any torture is too far to me.
Well, yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion.
I agree with you on that.
So then, Saeed and Hubert are, like, running after a train, trying to get on the train, and they missed it. And then Vinz just walks up like he knew exactly where they were. Did I miss anything in there?
Just a little bit, just a little small thing, but...
Oh. I was probably writing something now.
So, well, they're in the, like, being interrogated in the holding pen still. Vinz goes to this boxing match that they were invited to use earlier.
Boxing match.
Where was that? And then he goes, like, this crazy car ride, and they're going to, like, this club. And they're like, his friends that he was with. They're like, this guy will never let us in. So he literally shoots the bouncer.
Yeah.
Through the door.
Yeah, because they have, like, the little people in the door, and he shoots him. I do remember that. I just didn't write it down.
What the hell?
I don't know why I didn't write that down, but I just didn't write it down.
Yeah.
I wasn't writing anything else, I just didn't write that down.
You're good. And then they miss the train.
Yeah, but then they miss the train and Vinz walks up. And then they're talking about, like, cartoon characters.
Looney Tunes are, like, saying which one's, like, the most gangster or something.
Something like that, yeah. And then one of them, he's like, Hercules is the original gangster. I'm like, well, okay.
They're like, Tweety. I'm like, well, I can see that.
Then they are in, like, an art
It's
show,
like an art show, yeah. Like an art gallery opening or something.
Yeah. And they're, like, just kind of looking at the art, acting like they know what they're...
Yeah, looking at the art, eating the food, drinking.
Yeah, and then these women walk in, and Saeed wants to talk to the women, so he tells Hubert to go talk to him and introduce him. And then Saeed is a dummy. And
he's a dummy.
Wrecks the whole situation. Because the women were like, we were down to talk to you, but you're just being really aggressive, and this is not what we signed up for.
Yeah. It's like, we didn't invite you over.
And then... they're stealing a car?
Well, right before that, they got forced out pretty much of the art show gallery.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I got a credit card. He stole someone's credit card.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to steal the car after that.
Yeah, and some man, like, walks up, but they know who the guy is. He's like, what are you doing here? And so they finally get the car started, and the guy's, like, knocking on the window. And they're like, what do you want?
He's like,
There's cops.
There's cops. And it does mention, I don't know if you caught that, but, I don't know if it's Hubert was in the Navy.
Yeah, he was in the Navy, but none of them know how to drive.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you trying to steal a car?
I was interested about that. I'm like, well, he's in the Navy, which means he's a little older than the rest of them.
Yeah. Well, they seem to be, like, maybe, like, 25-ish. I think Saeed's kind of younger. I think he's probably around, like, 21.
It says they're teenagers in the film. That's the thing.
Maybe he quit school, like, quit middle school and went into the Navy.
I don't know.
Because it doesn't specify the
ages, really.
Like, it doesn't, like, this is made in 1995, but it doesn't specify that this was 1995.
True, that's true.
It could have been.
It did mention
earlier.
They did talk about the Rodney King riots just a little bit. When they were in the bathroom.
In the
bathroom.
I was writing something down, that's why I missed it.
Okay. Let's look that up then.
Rodney King riots were, I think, in the 70s? I'm probably wrong.
I'm a-looking.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm just trying to think.
They do mention that, though. I was like, well, that gives some little timeline.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But I don't know how the French Navy works. I don't know how old you have to be to...
That's true.
...be in there. Because he could have gone in when he was 15.
15 or 16, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And then only been in there, and then something could have happened. It could have been like a medical thing, and he got discharged.
Which happens.
Or they didn't need him anymore, and he got discharged. Like, something could have happened. But he does seem to be the oldest.
92.
92, okay. So it was pretty much right, the same timeline of when the movie came out.
Yeah, just a few years.
Yeah. So they're still in a car, and the police are there, so they're like, okay, on 3 we're going to get out. And then they say 3, and they all run, and the man that was, like, outside the car, he goes and, like, jumps on the police car.
Yeah, he's just trying to stop it. It's like, oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. And then the 3 of them are in, like, a train terminal or something like that.
I couldn't figure out what it was.
It was either the mall or a train terminal.
I wrote down mall because that's what it reminded me of.
But the guy had a bag like he was traveling. Like his...
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out.
I thought it was either a mall or a train terminal.
Could have been either one.
Yeah. And so they're, like, watching this board, and it's got the news on it, and they find out that...
Abdel.
Yeah, that he died. And then they're kind of just watching it, and all of a sudden, Vince is gone. And so they run up the stairs, and they go outside, and you see this image of him shooting 2 cops. But it's like he's been doing his finger gun the whole time. And it's hard to tell if he actually has the gun or if he has the finger gun, because it keeps flashing back and forth between it, and then it shows the cops dying. But then they didn't actually die. He didn't actually shoot him. It was just his fingers.
Yeah. He was just, messing around, I guess.
Yep. And then they get jumped by some skinheads, which is the other gang in the projects.
Yeah. And Vince, of course, saves them because he had wandered off again.
And Hubert is trying to get Vince to kill this one skinhead.
He's like, well, why don't you just do it? You've been talking about it.
Yeah. He said because a dead skinhead is a good thing, because it seems like they're rival gangs. So...
Well, I mean, skinhead's another term for something else, but yeah.
That's true. But so he's trying to get him to kill him, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. He gives Hubert the gun.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not doing it.
And then...
I've been keeping track of the times, too, actually, because there's every, so often they do a time card.
Yeah. This happens over, like, not even, like, probably a full 24 hours, I think.
About 24 hours, yeah. So it's like 6 in the morning.
Yeah, 6 in the morning is the end of the movie. And these guys, the skinheads, pull up in the car and jump them. Was it the skinheads? Or was it cops? I couldn't tell.
It was cops because
I thought they had called them skinheads.
It was the cops because I noticed that when the cops, he had a police band on his arm, and he's wearing a Notre Dame jacket, and it had a police thing on it, and they were just like instigating. The cops started it, really.
Yeah. And so one of the cops is holding the gun to Vince's head because Hubert was walking away, but Vince and Saeed went over to the cops, and they started getting beat up. So Hubert turns around and goes back towards them, and he gets over there right as the cop is holding the gun to his head, and the cop starts laughing and accidentally shoots him.
He shoots Vince in like the cheek / head,
like a temple.
Yeah, kind of. Dead. Vince is dead at this point. And when I watched this, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
excuse the language, but I had to say it.
I was not expecting that to happen.
Was not expected that at all. Because remember, Hubert had the gun, so he's pointing at the cop at this point too.
Yeah, because he's like, "You just literally killed my friend right in front of me. He didn't do anything."
So it was like a stare off with both of them have their guns, and then the screen goes black.
Right as a gunshot. Like, you don't see who's dead.
You don't see it.
So it could be the cop that killed Vince, or it could be Hubert.
It could be either one.
Because as it's like, you see them like standing off with the guns facing each other, and then it goes and you see Saeed staring at them, and then that's when it goes to black. So you don't see anything. Like, there's not even a hint of what could possibly have happened, because the gunshot and it goes black, and you see Saeed right before the gunshot, so you don't know who died. Because it doesn't even give you a chance to see his face react.
Yeah, after that, I was like in like awe and like shock for a second. I was like, this is a crazy way to end a movie.
Yeah, it is.
I was like, okay, that leaves me a lot of questions now. But, yeah. Okay, we're good then. So that's how it ends. Kind of on like that weird kind of cliffhanging, I guess.
Yeah. So the music, it was a lot of like pop music for the time.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Bob Marley.
Oh, I would love the Bob Marley reference. I was like, yes!
Yeah, there was some posters of Bob Marley and stuff.
I did notice the Isaac Hayes also.
Yeah, it's just all, and then there was like, my guess is there was some French pop music from the 90s, and then there was some American pop music from the 90s. Not pop, more like hip-hop.
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of pop, but mostly it was just hip-hop. But nothing that really stands out. Oh, there's an Ave Maria. I didn't notice that, though. I wasn't listening for it, really, though.
That's true. There's a lot of music in this. There really is. You just have to really pay attention. But again, I probably have to watch this again to get all the music, because I was focusing on the story and all of that.
Yeah.
I did like it. It did contribute to the story.
Yeah, it did. It was necessary.
It wasn't just pointless, like Kat would say about 8.5.
Yeah. That music was pointless.
I know.
This music, it actually, when they put it in there, it was needed for what they were doing. Like, even with the DJ, that wasn't a necessity to have it, but it made sense with what was going on at that point in time.
Yep, that's true.
And as far as comparison goes, I don't think there's really anything. The one thing that I do want to say is this reminded me a lot of The Outsiders.
Yeah. I can see that. I can.
Which that came out in the 80s, so it was like about 10 years before this that The Outsiders came out. So my guess is they took a little bit of influence from it, maybe.
Just a little bit. I can see
because
that.
There was some stuff that really reminded me of The Outsiders.
I didn't think of that right away. I really didn't. I was thinking about like the social thing.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this movie.
Still got a lot of, like you were saying earlier, it's still got a lot of pull today.
It does.
Because there's still a lot of hate, as the movie is called, even today.
I feel like this should be re-released.
Yeah.
Speaking of what inspired this, so the director actually wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
He was inspired to write the screenplay with one of his friends, a fellow kid from the projects. He died in police custody. So that's the reason why that was dedicated to that. That's why he wrote it. It was originally filmed in color. But he changed it.
I think it makes more of an impact in black and white.
I don't think it would, you're right, I don't think it would be as much of an influence if it was in color. There was a color re-release. It was good planned if the black and white didn't work out well, but
yeah,
it worked. And one more. So the GJ we were just mentioning, who appears, his name is, who's doing like the scratching the cut killers, Nikki La Police.
Yeah.
That's actually a cut killer.
Huh.
The actual DJ. They got him to do this movie.
That's funny.
I was like, nice.
That's funny.
Yeah. There's not much trivia for this movie, so.
That's
Yeah, those are the 3 most interesting ones I found.
Those were pretty interesting. So, where it has been on the list before and where it is at right now. In 2012, it was number 231. So it moved a little bit since then. In 2014, it was 224. In 2016, it was 238. And then it's still, as of today when we were recording, number 230.
Oh,
it hasn't gone anywhere.
It hasn't moved.
It seems to be staying right around the 230s.
That's what I'm thinking too.
And then previously, number 230, the 2010 list, it was His Girl Friday from 1940. The 2012 list, All Quiet on the Western Front from 1930, which I think that's one we're watching later, I think.
I'm not sure.
It sounds familiar, but that's probably because I've heard of it before.
Yeah, probably.
The 2014 list, Fistful of Dollars from 1964.
Classic.
The 2016 list, The Wizard of Oz from 1939.
Yes.
So, and then, of course, like I said, Haine is still on at 230 as of today when we're recording. It's funny, like, the number 230 in the past 8 years has been older movies. Like, 1964 was the youngest one until Haine.
Yep, that's true.
So, favorite line.
Oh, there's a couple I had.
The ones that a couple of them that I wrote down, they were funny, but they're kind of vulgar. Like the first one I wrote down, I thought it was funny. It says, "Your sister sucks Smurf dick." I thought that was funny. It's just one of those insults that they were throwing at each other. That's a great insult. I'm just like, I've never even heard, and I listen to guys insult each other quite often. That has never come across. Never.
So, I mean, that's a new one.
Yeah. Another one that I liked was, most cops don't hassle you, they protect you.
Yeah, that's a good
one.
one.
And I feel like a lot of people forget that.
Agreed.
Because there has been a lot lately of cops hassling people and not doing the job that they are hired for, and even very recently, the cop that was in Dallas that killed the guy because she walked in the wrong apartment. Like, there's a lot of that going on, but there's not a lot of the ones who are out there just protecting and helping.
I will say this. My mother, she works with a bunch of policemen. Of course, she works with them. And they're honestly, I've met a bunch of them. They're some of the nicest people ever. They are. And most of them really just want to, that's why they got into it. Serve and protect. That's all they really want to do.
I feel like we forget that a lot of times because we get all the bad press about cops.
Agreed. Cops are actually, they're like really nice people.
Yeah. It's just there's always a bad few in every group of people. There's always the bad few.
Very true.
Another one that I thought was really funny was, this one's another one that's kind of vulgar. It's like, fuck you and your cow.
That's a good one.
And then my favorite one is Stop Carrying the World on Your Shoulders. You don't have the build for it. Hubert said that to Vinz when he was still like dead set on killing a cop if Abdel died.
That's a good line, actually.
Yeah, I like that one.
I
That's the one that I was writing down when
okay.
They got captured.
I got you. I have a couple. One of them was that billboard they kept walking by. It kept saying the world is yours.
Yeah.
But then Saeed, in one part of the movie, he crosses it out and puts ours.
Yeah.
So the world is ours.
Yeah.
Which I liked. Another one was, it doesn't matter how you fall doesn't matter, it's how you land.
Oh, yeah,
I like that one. And then I think my favorite one is, Hubert says this one, it says, hate breeds hate.
Yeah. Hubert has a lot of good lines because he has that one that I like, the Stop Carrying the World on Your Shoulders. And then he also says the one about the cops too.
Yeah,
he has a lot of good lines in this one. And then Saeed has a lot of the funny lines because a lot of them that I wrote down were Saeed's. He's the one that says all the funny stuff, and then Vinz just kind of is like the vengeful one.
He's a hothead. He's a Vincent. I know this. I have a brother with the same name. I love you, but you're a hothead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He knows.
So what do you think?
I do like the world on your shoulders one.
The Stop Carrying the World on Your Shoulders. You don't have the build for it.
Yep, I like that one.
I feel like that like pertains to everybody because all kinds of people carry all kinds of stuff that they shouldn't have to carry.
That one hits quite close to home for me. It does, because I feel like I do that quite a bit. So, that's the one. I like it.
Alright, we'll go with that one. So, what did you give it?
I gave it a solid 8.
Nice.
I did. I gave it a solid 8. Like I said earlier, this movie really pertains to things now. Even back, it was made in 95. It was relevant then. It's relevant now. I'm, like, kind of sad I haven't seen this earlier. I'd like to watch it again. I actually want to show my brothers.
Yeah, it's
this
actually,
movie.
It's really good.
Yeah, and there's some really good acting. Really good message. So, I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7, because I did like it, but it's not one of those that I was just like, holy crap, this is amazing. But it's not also one that I was like, this is horrible. It's just, like, it was really good.
Yeah, this one, I've been thinking about it ever since I watched it. So, that's why I gave it its high rating.
I just watched it today. So I was busy.
I know. We're busy girls.
Yes, we are. Alright, so our next film is The Terminator.
Ooh, Arnold
Schwarzenegger. And I think that's all we got. If you pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release of the episodes, which they'll come out on Monday instead of Friday. And then also you'll get a special monthly episode once every month. We'll put something out, like our ideas. For next month, for this month, for September, we picked 4 of our least favorite movies, the ones we don't ever want to watch again. Nice. And you vote on either Facebook or Twitter to make us watch one of them, and we'll review it in a little 30 to 45 minute episode there for you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of dreading that, but I just hope it's not one of mine. Yeah. I'm kind of voting for Kat's least favorites at this point.
Yeah. And that is at $1 a month, and then for $5 a month, you will get all of those, plus be able to be in your choice of a movie for every 50 movies. As long as, like, you get there in time.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get there in time. But you'll get to join us for up to 5 movies if you pay $5 a month. And, like I said, our first special episode for this month of September will be based on your votes. The choices for the movies that one of us hates are Frozen, The Love Guru, It the Original, and Howard the Duck. So make sure you vote on Twitter or Facebook for that. And then we're still running our contest. One person out of every 10 that leaves a positive written review will be randomly selected to join us for a movie of their choice. So get to leaving reviews.
Yes, they help us, so please.
Yes. And where to find us?
So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cat and Jess Talk the Best. Our email is catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail, and our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
Yep. And you can find the show pretty much everywhere now. Actually, yeah. Everywhere.
Pretty much.
iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. And also every episode forever will be on Podbean. So if you ever feel like you want to go back and listen to the first one and we're on like number 198, you can just
Go back and
back
listen.
to Podbean and listen. And our opening music is by Audio Binger. So any music we ever have is by him. You can find him Facebook, YouTube, and he has a website, audiobinger.net.
Yeah, check him out. She has a porg.
I do have a porg. He's so cute.